All right, let's jump right into one of the most famous documents from the entire ancient world, the Code of Hammurabi. You've definitely heard the name before, right? It's this legendary piece of history, literally carved in stone. But what if what we think we know about it isn't the whole story?
So, let me guess. You were probably taught in school that this was the world's first ever written law code. Full stop. It's a neat little factoid, fits nicely on a test. But what if I told you that's just not true? Yeah, the real story is honestly way cooler.
So, to really get this, we've got to go back in time. We need to understand the king, the place. We need to talk about Hammurabi's Babylon.
Okay, so who was this guy, Hammurabi? Well, he was a king back in the 18th century BCE. And he wasn't just any king, he was a major conqueror. His kingdom was getting huge, and with a bigger kingdom comes, well, bigger problems. He needed a system to keep everything in order. Now, as you can see, he wasn't the first to write down laws. You've got the Code of Ur-Nammu a few centuries earlier. But what Hammurabi did, that was on a whole other level.
And get this, he didn't just jot these laws down on some flimsy scroll that would get lost. No way! He had them carved into a massive stone monument, a stele. This wasn't something hidden away in a library for scholars. This was a giant, 7-foot-tall billboard of justice planted right in the middle of the city for everyone to see. It was a power move.
And check out the very top of the stele. This is crucial. You see that carving? That's Hammurabi himself receiving the laws directly from Shamash, the Babylonian god of justice. The message couldn't be clearer. Hey everyone, these aren't my rules. These laws come straight from the gods. I mean, talk about a brilliant piece of PR. How do you argue with that?
All right, so if it wasn't the first law code, then why is it the one we all know? Let's dig into the real story. It's not about being first, it's about being the best.
So here it is, plain and simple. The myth? It's the first. The reality? Nope. There were others before it. But, and this is the key, Hammurabi's code is the one that survived. It's the most complete, best-preserved set of laws we have from that entire era. It's like finding a nearly perfect fossil. And because it was so complete, it became the gold standard, the thing everyone studies.
Now, you can't talk about Hammurabi without bringing up the one phrase everyone knows, an eye for an eye, right? It sounds so simple, so fair in a brutal sort of way. You do something to me, I get to do the same thing back to you. But here's the question. Was it really that simple? Was justice blind in Babylon?
The answer is a big, resounding no. Just look at this breakdown. In Babylon, justice depended entirely on who you were. If a noble injured another noble, okay, an eye for an eye. But if that same noble injured a commoner, he'd just have to pay a fine. And if he hurt a slave, an even smaller penalty. So this idea of equality before the law, yeah, that was not a thing, not even close.
But, the code is way more than just violent punishments. It's actually a fascinating window into what everyday life was really like in ancient Babylon.
I mean, the sheer number of things these laws cover is kind of mind-boggling. It tells you that this wasn't some simple, primitive society. They were dealing with things we deal with today. Business contracts, arguments over property lines, wage disputes. It was a complex, bustling world, and they needed rules to stop it from falling into chaos.
Let's take the economy, for example. The code gets into the nitty-gritty of trade regulations, debt, and loans. It even lays out how much you had to pay a laborer for a day's work. This was a society that really cared about making sure business ran smoothly.
And it wasn't just business. It dives deep into family and society. We're talking marriage contracts, divorce proceedings, who inherits the family farm, it's all in there. It even had detailed regulations about slavery, which really shows you how fundamental these social structures were back then.
But this is what I find absolutely fascinating. They had laws for professional accountability. Think about this. If a builder built a house and it collapsed and killed the owner, the builder could be put to death. It's this incredibly modern idea that you are responsible for the quality of your work.
And that's the big takeaway here, right? All these specific laws, they make these ancient people feel, well, real. They worried about the same stuff we do. Getting ripped off in a business deal, fighting with relatives over inheritance, just wanting to get paid fairly for a hard day's work. The details are different, but the core human problems, they haven't changed a bit.
Okay, so let's bring it all home. What's the final verdict on Hammurabi? What's his enduring legacy? And why on earth are we still talking about this lump of rock thousands of years later?
It really boils down to three things. 1, preservation. It's the best one that survived the test of time. 2, politics.
It was a brilliant move that positioned the king as the great dispenser of divine justice. And 3, it became an icon. It's the symbol of ancient law, the one that made it into all the history books.
Yeah, this quote just nails it. In Babylon, justice was part of royal identity. This wasn't just about telling people what to do. This was about branding. Hammurabi was branding himself as the Justice King, and that massive stone stele was his proof. It was ancient public relations, and man, did it ever work.
When you step back, the Code of Hammurabi is just one really important chapter in our long, ongoing human story. It's an ancient answer to an eternal question. How do we all live together without chaos? How do we create a society that's fair, that has order, that has some form of justice?
And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. Hammurabi had his answer. It was based on the will of the gods and a very strict social ladder. Today, we're trying to build something different. But that fundamental challenge, it's still with us. How do we create a society that's genuinely fair for everyone? It's a question that's literally as old as that stone.